for joining us today for this next episode of Topkat Studio Sessions. I'm Rebecca Del Torre, and we've got a really awesome jazz trio here today, headed by one of my colleagues and friends, Danielle Cooke, on piano. Danielle, why don't you go ahead and introduce your musicians here?
I have Robby Carrillo on drums and Chad Cole on upright bass.
Yeah, this is Chad's first time ever in the studio. It's so, really great having you here. I've been working with Robby for a few years, but
I love the studio. The hospitality.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we just finished eating. That was a pretty decent spread there. So we want to go ahead and get started with a tune. Danielle, what would you like to start with?
I'd like to start with one of my originals. This is called Half Moon.
is beautiful. And what's the name of that tune?
That one was called Half Moon. I wrote that maybe a couple years ago.
Oh, okay, cool. That's so awesome. Half moon. It sounded like a half moon because after you said half moon, I was thinking it sounds like full moon or like a night sky or something like that. So that's really cool.
Yeah, kind of a darker mood. So
yeah, no, it's still beautiful. I got a pretty beautiful dark mood. Goodness gracious, my dark moods are pretty nasty.
yeah, I tend to kind of base a lot of the things that I write off of chords that I like or different progressions that I just kind of end up putting a melody over.
Okay, awesome. That's so beautiful. So, like I said, this is Danielle Cooke, and she's an awesome jazz pianist here in the Valley. And I have several questions that I've prepared. You were born here in the Valley, right? I mean, like
yes.
born and raised.
Yeah, I was born and raised in Chandler, and then I ended up going to ASU for college. So.
Oh, so you went straight to ASU when you graduated?
Yes.
Okay, and did you get your undergrad there, or did you go to master's beyond that too, or?
I just did my bachelor's degree, so I got it in jazz performance.
Jazz performance, very, very cool. And piano, was that your first instrument, or did you have something else? Or?
It was my first and only instrument. So my dad used to play, so I think I was kind of inspired by watching him play, and he taught me, my first couple pieces, and I just kind of stuck with it over the years.
So your dad was a jazz pianist?
He wasn't a jazz pianist. He
Okay.
had taken lessons for maybe about 5 or 6 years when he was younger. So.
Oh, okay. But he got you interested in the piano, and apparently he supported you in being a piano player yourself.
Yes, yeah. Both of my parents were really supportive and supported my decision to go continue studying music. So.
That's awesome.
That's great.
So when did you how old were you when you started playing?
I was about 9 when I started taking piano lessons.
Okay, cool. It seems like anyone that's able to be successful, and you always hear that they started when they were 4 or 3 or 2 or some craziness like that.
Yeah,
You started when you
I
were
think
9.
9 was a good age because I was old enough to know that I wanted to pursue it for myself, and they didn't have to ask me to practice. It was something that I just wanted to do. So
Exactly, and you didn't get burned out on it when you're
Right.
in your
it
toddler
wasn't never
years.
forced upon me or anything like that.
That's awesome. So how old? I guess how old were you when you decided that you wanted to pursue music full time? Was it? Did you know from the beginning, or when did you kind of make that decision where you really knew you wanted to go major in music and maybe make this an actual career?
I think it was probably at some point in high school when I was scoping out colleges where I wanted to go, and I just put a lot of years into the piano and learning it, and I kind of thought maybe that was my strength and what I would want to do because I got so much enjoyment out of it. So
Okay, awesome. And so then you had a good jazz program at ASU, and you ended up just going right into there. Did you get a scholarship for it, or did you?
I got an academic and a jazz scholarship, so that kind
Excellent.
of influenced my decision to stay here too.
Yeah, for real. That's awesome. That's really sweet. You got a nice deal there. So do you primarily do instrumental compositions, or do you do any vocals or anything like that as well?
Yes, I really just do instrumental compositions. I don't know. I've never really been one for writing lyrics because I've never really been a singer myself, and it's something that I'm working on improving now.
She is, so I had to bring that out. And she actually has a really sweet voice. So, but we'll have to do that in another
Maybe
episode
another
of the
time,
show.
yeah.
There we go. Okay, that's cool. So maybe potentially you could develop that but for the most part, you focus on the instrumental.
I do. I just
compositions.
feel like, for me personally, I can convey more just through playing than I can with words, or I don't know how to express some things. With
Yeah,
words
but you
that are
expressed it
easier.
very well on the piano.
Thank you.
That was absolutely beautiful, very enjoyable. I got lost in the music, so that was great. Let's see. So tell us about one of your favorite originals.
This next piece that I'm going to play is called Coming Home. And I wrote that after my stint on cruise ships. I had been going out for a period of time
Okay.
as a musician on those. Mm-hmm. And there was just something really nice about coming back to a familiar environment and seeing your family and friends again. So it's kind of a happier piece than the ones that I usually write. I kind of write a lot of things in minor keys, but...
Okay, well, let's hear it.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, Coming Home by Danielle Cooke. I was really grooving, especially like when you were doing the click there on the snare chick. I was like, yeah.
It's a fun place to play with the trio, yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's such a fun song. That's really nice. And it's called Coming Home. And you said it was because of the cruise ships, which I want to get back to, because I've known that Danielle was on cruise ships. Actually, when we first became Facebook friends, it was I read on her Facebook profile, whatever, that she was a director of a band or something on a cruise ship. And so I was thinking, oh my goodness, I wonder what that's like. Because a lot of musicians, we get contacted kind of regularly about people wanting us to be playing on cruise ships or whatever, especially like a piano player or a singing pianist like I am. And so I'm wondering, what was it like? I mean, did you like it? How long were you on there? And what did you do? Give us the rundown on that.
I did about 5 different contracts. So, and I would go out for 4 or 5 months at a time, so it's kind of a long time to be away from home. But I kind of did that right out of college because I wasn't really tied to anything here, so it was a good way for me to travel and see the world.
Okay, awesome.
So it was really good. My first couple contracts, I got a lot better at sight reading and just being able to adapt to different musical situations. So I think I gained a lot out of it, but it wasn't something that I wanted to do. Continue doing forever, yeah.
Did it get tiring being out on the ship for so long? Or?
It did. I mean, it was really fun at first, and the travel was amazing. I got to see places I would never be able to see otherwise. But
what are some of the places like some of the cruises that you did? Like, what cities did you visit?
I went to China. I went to Japan. Whoa. I went to Thailand.
I was thinking like, I don't know, Cancun or whatever, which is fine. But like, you're talking about China, Taiwan. So you did did jazz then? Or did you do a variety of styles on the cruise ships?
It was a variety. I was working in the show band, so it's kind of whatever guest entertainers they would get on board, we would play for them. So
gotcha.
It did include jazz, but it was kind of Broadway styles too, and different things. So.
Okay, wow, a little bit of everything. And so what was the total amount of time that you were doing the different contracts on the cruise ships?
I did it for about a period of 3 years, so I'd kind of go away for 4 or 5 months and come back for a month or two, hang out at home, and then go back out again. So.
Okay, cool. Well, it's good to have you back here in Phoenix.
I'm definitely glad to be back, yes.
Oh, okay, awesome. Now, I had another question, because I'm hearing different influences in your playing, and so I'd like to hear from your own lips. Who is it that you've listened to the most you think has influenced your writing style and your playing?
Definitely Bill Evans, I would say.
Is number one. What about any others besides Bill Evans? I'm just curious.
Yeah, there's this pianist I really like, Mark Carey is one of them, and another one is Esbjorn Svensson. Okay,
I've not heard of him yet. I'll have to look him up.
So I'm kind of drawn to pianists who I really like their writing, or they have some really creative melodic ideas. So.
And a lot of colors.
Yes, colors and textures, and people who can be minimal at times or convey a certain mood.
Exactly, and it's so great that you mentioned Bill Evans, because I've thought that from the very first time I ever heard Danielle play. And Bill Evans is actually one of my favorite piano players too.
Yeah.
Which of course is a great segue into a tune that I really wanted to get to do with this wonderful group. One of my favorite tunes of all time. And the first time I ever heard it was Bill Evans, and then of course I heard it sung by Sarah Vaughan. So if we can do, please, Stairway to the Stars. Let's build a stairway to the stars and climb that lovely stairway to the stars, with love to guide us and feel the night with a song. We'll hear the sound of violins over yonder way the blue begins. The moon will guide us as we go drifting along. Paddle over the rim of the hill. lovely, lovely little stairway to the stars. It would be heaven to climb to heaven with you. Daisy petal over the rim of the hill. Can't we sail away? Build a little dreaming and settle high 'neath the crest of the hill. Let's build a stairway to the stars and climb that lovely stairway to the stars. It would be heaven to climb to heaven, to climb to heaven, to climb to heaven with you. That was so fun! Yay! I'm always having to accompany myself, and something's going suffer if you do that, you know, right? It's hard to do two things at once. It's so nice
really
to just
hard.
get to sing and
Yeah.
have someone like with those amazing skills. I'm sitting here learning. I was like, oh, I see what she did there. Okay, I see what she did there.
We're gonna trade lessons. So,
That's
yeah.
right. Actually, we are. That's funny you say that. That was so great. Thank you so much for indulging me, all of you. Now, jazz musicians are famous for not really enjoying doing ballads, so I really appreciate you guys humoring me on that one. Thanks so much. Oh yeah. So apparently, you've got a couple of originals that you've already showed with us. Are you going to be recording these soon? Are they already recorded, or when are you gonna release these out into the world, or are they already?
I have some of them recorded, but I'd really like to get in the studio, maybe here if you'll let me back sometime this summer.
Please.
Because I don't have an album of my own yet, so I'd really like to just finish working on some originals that I've started and just haven't finished yet. And
So you got plans, or at least your dream or idea right now is to continue writing, or do you have everything already written and just get to recording sometime within the next 6 months?
I definitely like to continue writing, so I think I
Okay.
have about 7 or 8 that I am comfortable playing in public, but
Oh,
I have a
that's
lot
so-
of things that I still need to finish up.
That's
so.
good for an EP. Goodness
Yeah.
gracious. Yeah, all right. No, that'd be awesome. Cool. So we'll have to check that out. And what's so great now is you're going to have some of your originals recorded right here.
Yes.
That you can share
Yes,
with everybody
it's great for
online.
promotional.
And as you can see, Danielle is an amazing pianist, and she can play a lot of other cover tunes, not just Stairway to the Stars, but just about anything you'd want to hear, any Bill Evans tune or Chick Corea or whatever, right? Because that's what she does for a living. Let me see, make sure we're... Oh, yeah, of course, this is the most important information right here. Where can people go to find out information about your music?
Right now I'm still working on getting a website up, so maybe I can post it later on once I get it up and running. I'm getting some promotional material
But
together.
what about, do you have a Facebook page or?
Yes, my Facebook page is Dani1604, DANI1604.
Okay, and we'll have that in the
And I'm
notes
posting
below.
about gigs a lot, or I do a lot of different things around town. So.
Now, is that a page that people can like, or is that your personal Facebook page?
That is my personal page, so I don't have a separate page for just music.
But you'll accept any, potential fans, friend requests on Facebook?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, sure, there we go. Okay, awesome. Good deal. Well, is there anything else that you'd like to share with us today? Any other songs?
I would just like to play one more tune, if that's okay for you.
What's the name of it?
This is called Weightless.
Ooh, Weightless. This is going to be floaty?
Yes.
Very nice. Okay, so this
like
one is
floaty.
Weightless by Danielle Cooke. Very nice. I'm Rebecca Della Torre, and this is Topkat Studios session. It was so great to have Danielle
Thank you
Cooke.
for having me.
Absolutely. Danielle Cooke, awesome jazz pianist here in the Phoenix area. And we have two wonderful musicians, obviously one of my sidekicks here, Robby Carrillo on the drums, and my very first time to meet this incredible upright bass player, Chad Cole. Thanks you guys, all of you, for being here. Y'all have a great night.
1, 2.